Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 5 in the NFL right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, who is doing his usual selection of games that I ask him to take. And usually the games I ask him to take have tough lines. I feel bad that he has to go public with them. This one, the Rams and Philly, is maybe my favorite play of the week. We'll see if he agrees. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us.
Well, thank you, Peter.
All right, we have a quick plug for OffshoreInsiders.com before we see if you agree with me on Rams-Philly.
Yes, 26 years plus of winning publicly. There's a reason I'm one of, I think, less than 10 handicappers who's been in the business full-time since the 1980s. Got a huge weekend up at OffshoreInsiders.com. All the details there because we're increasing the number of winners probably even tonight. So visit us at OffshoreInsiders.com.
The Rams are a 7-point road dog at Philly. Totals 47.5. That's down from 49. The Rams are off a bye. Philly's off a loss at San Francisco. And, Philly is looking like they're having a lot of issues on the offensive line. They're having problems establishing the run. And even when they were playing well, they still look like a team that, wasn't really built to get blowouts. They would play a great half and then they play a great half in one half of the game and then let the team back in the other half or give up a, big lead in the other half. The Rams are off a bye, not a great team, but going up against Philly, getting 7 points, that has to be a pretty good bet, right?
Yeah, no, I probably, if I had to pick a side, I might lean towards the Rams here, but I'm going to go with the total. You're right. Okay. Philadelphia has been quite interesting. The first, 3 games, they were a great first half team and then, a terrible first half team and then great in the second half. And then against the 49ers, it was the polar opposite. You're right. The Eagles are doing some struggling. Shady McCoy, he's really struggling. He's only averaging, I think, like 2.7 yards per carry, and we know that he's a lot better than that. But the thing about Shady McCoy is he's always kind of been more of a feast or famine type guy. He's capable of exploding at any time, and I think he's got an upside. And Nick Foles, while I think everybody and their brother agreed that the numbers he put up last year were completely unrealistic. I mean, he would have been a Hall of Famer if he could maintain those numbers. He's not quite that good, but he's still a pretty darn good quarterback. And last week, he overthrew a ton of receivers. He was actually 0 for 12 in passes thrown more than 20 yards. His shorter passes, he was obviously much better. But we know he's capable of that. And they're playing a St. Louis defense that, you're right, they have a little bit of a low-powered offense. But their defense, they're allowing 5.2 rushing yards per attempt. The team's normally getting only 4.8. 8.0 passing yards per attempt to 6.6. So you know that Philly, they're not going to scale back just because they had a rough week offensively last week. And despite their struggles, the game should have gone over the total where Philly did some bizarre play calling. They had the ball 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line and threw 2 passes. Now, of course, they had a defensive score and a special team score. So that might be a little bit of an aberration. But for a team that snaps the ball a lot, some crazy things are going to happen. I still think the over is the right play here. Now, if you're going to force me to pick a side, I'd probably agree with you, but the over is my official play for this video.
All right, well, it's right now 47.5, and that's a pretty significant jump down from 49, and it's hard for you to imagine that's a result of public action. The public doesn't usually, look at the Philly games and that aren't even in the 50s and say, yeah, give me the under. So I'm assuming that's been sharp action that caused that line movement.
Yeah, it is, and there's no question that Philadelphia, they're having their struggles on their offensive line, but you know what? Their offensive line wasn't all that spectacular last year, and they put up some pretty gaudy numbers. So I think that the Eagles, really looking at the reports of people who look at the game films, they did make some correctable errors, and St. Louis is vulnerable. And I also think that, St. Louis, although they prefer to run the ball, they have some weaknesses on Philly's offense that they can exploit. So, I think this will be a high enough scoring game.
All right, Joe Duffy liking the over 47.5 in St. Louis, Philly. Thanks, Joe.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns. Big money free betting contests year-round. A real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.